السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين إنه خير ناصر ومعين. ثم الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين عجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف. اللهم صل على محمد. I am very grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be with you, dear brothers and sisters, in Mahfil Ali. This is my first time being in Mahfil Ali. I had the honor to be invited last year as well, but unfortunately we couldn't make it. Alhamdulillah, very glad to meet my dear brothers and sisters in this great occasion. I would like to congratulate this great Eid of Islam, Eid al Ghadeer, for all Muslims and those who seek the walaya of Ali ibn Abi Talib and those who get help from the walaya of Ali ibn Abi Talib and Ahlul Bayt, and those who are connected to the walaya of Ali ibn Abi Talib and Ahlul Bayt, specifically you, dear brothers and sisters. Inshallah, Mubarak to you and your relatives, your friends, your family and your community. With the barakah of Lord Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. I would like to start my talk, which is entitled The Concept of Walaya in the Quran, with remembering those who passed away in the last week in Mecca and Mina, the Hujjaj and pilgrims of the house of Allah. Let's recite a Surah Fatiha and send to the pure soul of all of them, followed again by a Salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتخذوا الكافرين أولياء من دون المؤمنين أتريدون أن تجعلوا لله عليكم سلطانا مبينا. My talk is about the concept of walaya in the Quran. The Eid al Ghadeer is sometimes called as the Eid al Walaya. The day of Ghadeer is sometimes called the day of the walaya of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salatu wassalam. Alhamdulillah, we have this honor to be included in the followers of Ahlul Bayt and Ali ibn Abi Talib and believe in the rights of Ahlul Bayt and specifically Amir al-Mu'mineen as the right successor of the Prophet. But I thought it might be a good idea to look at the concept of walaya from a bit different perspective. What I'm going to do and to share with you tonight in, I think 45 minutes, which I've been given, to have a look at the concept of walaya from a social and communicative approach based on the verses of the ayat of the Quran. So I have to clarify some points. First of all, we absolutely acknowledge and confess the walaya of Ali ibn Abi Talib as the right successor of the Prophet. There's no doubt in it. But the points I'm going to mention tonight are not related to the walaya of Amir al-Mu'mineen specifically. I'm talking about the walaya in general. So maybe you get me wrong by saying that there's less connection between the topic and the occasion. Forgive me if there is less relation, but it's a good idea to have a look at the general concept of walaya and its usage in the Quran, to see how walaya has been used and applied in the Quran, in what ways. Usually the way we use walaya to refer to Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salatu wasalam is a theological concept. When we do aqaid and theology, we use the term walaya and wali or mawla, man kunt mawla, fahada aliyun mawla. all of these usages are related to the theological and to some extent political aspect and dimension of wilaya. But wilaya has got different dimensions. It's a multifaceted, multi-dimensional concept. In irfan, mysticism, there's a strong discussion on wilaya. Wilaya, wali, awliya. It has a long literature behind this concept in irfan. In political sciences, it has. In fiqh and jurisprudence, when we talk about waliyul faqih or waliyul dam, so these type of issues, again, wali and walaya and awliya is mentioned in fiqh and jurisprudence. So it has jurisprudential dimension and aspect as well. It has akhlaqi aspect as well. But one of the aspects which is less discussed is walaya from the dimension, from the perspective of communication. Because my study, my PhD was about, apart from the house, alhamdulillah, I've been in the house since maybe 24, 5 years back. Apart from the house, because my university studies was in the field of sociology and communication. So I'm going to look at walaya from a specifically communicative and communication studies approach. But again, based on the teachings of Ahlul Bayt and based on the words of Allah in the Quran, basically based on the ayat of the Quran. This is one of the dimensions of walaya which has been discussed not in detail. So theologically, politically, from mystical point of view, jurisprudentially, walaya has been discussed thoroughly, in depth, but from a social and from a communicative approach, there is a long way for walaya to be discussed. So now let's open a small window to walaya from this perspective. What is the literal meaning of walaya? Walaya literally means, in lugha, literally means as mufradat, as Raghib al-Isfahani says in his famous book Al-Mufradat fi Gharib al-Quran, which goes back to about 1,000 years back, which is one famous book on the terminology of the words and concepts of the Quran. He explains the word walaya in this sense. He says wala yali and walaya, also walaya, both are correct. We can use the, but again, there's a difference. Some scholars, they say that walaya has got a different meaning. I'm going to explain it. So the word walaya, which is rooted in the verb, in the fi'l of wala yali, means what? Means to follow someone or something very closely in the way that there's no distance between you and the next one. So two things or two people are following one another, are close to one another in a way that in the terminology of Raghib al-Isfahani in al-Mufradat, he says that there's no distance between them. That kind of attachment, that kind of closeness of two things to one another. So that's the literal meaning of walaya or walaya. Fine. For example, when we say wala Zaydun Amran, it means that Zayd is following Amr very closely, that there's no distance. Or for example, this brother, wala that, it means that they're very close to one another, in a sense that there's no distance between them. That's the literal meaning of walaya. Now about the technical. When we say technical, we have to say in what sense, in what field, because technical, it means that you apply walaya, you use walaya in different contexts. In which context? So, in the context of theology, in the context of politics, in the context of fiqh, which context? In different contexts, walaya or walaya has got a specific meaning. Shaykh Mutahari, in his famous book, he's got a very good book called, in Farsi, I don't think the book has been translated to English. ولاها و ولایتها. This is the book of Mater Mutahari. ولاها و ولایتها. The velas and the guardianships and the velayat. I don't know how to translate into English. It's very difficult to translate into English. The followerships and guardianships, something like that. In his book, he divides the technical sense of velaya into different categories. One is general sense of velaya, technically. So he says general sense and specific sense, or general sense and narrower sense. The general sense of wilaya means friendship and help. This is the general, technically, not literally. Literally means that closeness, that following one thing another, no distance between them. But technically and generally, it means friendship and nusra, and helping. This is the general sense of walaya. But technically, it is used in a specific meaning. Sometimes it means walayatul mahabba, that closeness in mahabba. Sometimes it means walayatul imama, that closeness or followership or guardianship. These are the translations of walaya: guardianship, followership, leadership. I don't think none of these translations would be accurate translation for the reasons that I'm going to put for you. Walayatul imama, the closeness of followership or guardianship or ownership, even in imama, in the case of imama. Sometimes it's walayatul za'ama, in leadership. Sometimes walaya means, which Allama Tabatabai in Tafsir al-Mizan mentions, means haqqut tasarruf, having the right of spiritual, internal, inward and cosmic leadership and authority. Spiritual guidance of the universe, of the world and humans. Walayatul batini or walayatul takwini. So these are the different cases, different meanings of walaya in its technical sense. Now, another categorization of walaya is that walaya sometimes is used in its positive way, sometimes negative. Walaya has been used in the Quran to refer to Allah, the Prophets, and mu'mineen. Allahu waliyul ladhina amanu. Man yuta'illah wal rasul ومن يتولى الله ورسوله. So tawalla or walaya, which is rooted in the word of walaya, is used for Allah, for Rasul. المؤمنين والمؤمنات بعضهم أولياء بعض. So in its positive sense, it is used to refer to Allah, the Prophet, and mu'mineen. That's the positive. The negative, walaya is not only a positive term, it has some kind of negative implications. Allah ولي الذين آمنوا يخرجهم من الظلمات إلى النور وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. And as for the disbelievers, kuffar, أَوْلِيَاؤُهُمْ الطَّاغُوتِ, their awliya is taghut. So the wali and awliya is the plural form of wali. Awliya and wali and wilaya is used to refer to disbelievers, to kuffar. So it refers to positively to Allah, mu'mineen, and the Prophet and Imams, and also to shayateen. Shayateen yuhuna ba'dhum ila awliyaihim. So it refers to taghut, kuffar, shayateen. Also positively it refers to Allah, mu'mineen, and the Rasul and the Imams. That's another categorization of wilaya. So wilaya could be divided into positive way of wilaya and negative way of wilaya. So these are some issues. Now I'm going to go into detail of the communicative looking at walaya or social aspect of walaya in the Quran. The first one is that the way that the Quran uses, brothers and sisters, the word walaya or walaya is a mutual. It's not one way. It's two-way, two-sided. Not only two-sided, but also it's multi-dimensional, multifaceted. As an example, Allah says, Allahu waliyul ladina amanu. Allah is wali for mu'mineen. So Allah is introduced as wali, guardian or owner or having the authority, ownership, or friend, whatever meaning you can say, of mu'mineen. Allah is the wali of mu'mineen. But in another ayah, Allah says, ألا إن أولياء الله لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. The awliya of Allah. In the previous ayah, Allah is wali for mu'mineen, but here, mu'mineen are awliya of Allah. In that famous hadith of Ghadeer, the Prophet said, "Man kuntu mawla fahadha aliyun mawla." The word mawla, which grammatically is used in Arabic both as ismul fa'il and ismul maf'ul. Sometimes the prophets, the imams are introduced as mawla. In some ahadith, people are introduced as mawla for Ahl al-Bayt. So it's two-way, it's two-sided. Not only two-way, in other ayats, al-mu'mineen wal-mu'minat ba'dhuhum awliya'u ba'd. Some of the mu'mineen and the mu'minat, the faithful sisters, brothers, from male and female, they are ba'dhuhum. Some of them are awliya for some others. So it's from different angles. Allah is wali for mu'mineen, not in the same sense. I'm not saying in the sense that Allah is wali for mu'mineen, exactly in the same sense mu'mineen are wali for Allah. No, the sense is different because the word wali has got different meanings. But the usage has been used, but the usage is done in a mutual way. Yeah? Fine. This is one point. So, Allah is wali for mu'mineen. Mu'mineen are awliya of Allah. Ahlul Bayt are mawla or wali for the people. People are wali for Ahlul Bayt. Let me bring you an example from Ziyarat Ashura. In Ziyarat Ashura, for example, which is, according to some ahadith, Ziyarat Ashura is a divine tradition, Hadith al-Qudsi. Some others, they say it's a hadith from Imam Baqir alayhi salatu wasalam. In either way, the sanad and the chain of narration is completely authentic with regards to Ziyarat Ashura. In Ziyarat Ashura, we say, إني سلم لمن سالمكم يا أبا عبد الله إني سلم لمن سالمكم وحرب لمن حاربكم وولي لمن والاكم. I'm at peace with those who are at peace with you. I'm in war with those who are at war with you. وولي لمن والاكم. And I am wali for those who are having the relationship of wilaya with you, for your awliya. I am wali of your awliya. Yeah? Or for example, in the same Ziyarat Ashura, it says that فَأَسْأَلُ اللَّهَ الَّذِي أَكْرَمَنِي بِمَعْرِفَتِكُمْ وَمَعْرِفَةِ أَوْلِيَائِكُمْ. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that has honored me by knowing you, Ahlul Bayt, and knowing the awliya of you. So sometimes people are introduced as awliya, as wali for Ahlul Bayt, and in other cases, Ahlul Bayt are used as awliya or wali or mawla for mu'mineen. So it's not one way, it's mutual, it's multifaceted, multidimensional, two-sided at least, it's not one-sided. This is one point. Another point is that Allah Tabatabai mentions in Tafsir al-Mu'mineen that the reality of, although wilaya has got different meanings, when we say Allah is wali for mu'mineen, it may mean that Allah is the owner, has got the absolute authority. When we say mu'mineen are awliya of Allah, it means that They have accepted that ownership. They have accepted that authority. Or they help Allah. They're friends of Allah. It doesn't mean that they got ownership over Allah or authority over Allah. But Allah Ta'ala says, apart from different meanings of the word walaya and mawla and wali and awliya in the Quran, there is one reality behind the meaning of walaya. There is one core meaning after which all other meanings stem and derived. There's one core reality of walaya, and that core reality of walaya is attachment, connection. Attachment and connection. That's closeness in its real sense. Qurb, closeness, proximity. Being very, very close to one another. That's the reality behind it. When we say Allah is wali for mu'mineen, it means that there's no distance. They are connected. Awliya of Allah or awliya of Ahlul Bayt means the relationship is very, very, very closed. That's one point. Another point is how we can make the relationship, the walaya-based communication, the walaya-based relationship very close. We can do it when we feel attachment, we feel the sense of belonging to that thing. So walaya has got the sense of belonging. The sense of belonging to someone. The sense of connecting to someone. The sense of being inclined in heart and mind to someone. Even if I was thinking about the word walaya, walaya sometimes has been used in the Quran. For example, Allah says, فَوَلِّ وَجْهَكَ شَطْرَ الْمَسْجِدِ الْحَرَامِ. Walli wajhaka means what? Walli is a command verb. فعل الأمر. Walli means turn your face. What does it mean to say turn your face? Walli comes from wilaya. From some ahadith and from some commentaries of the Quran, we can understand even in these cases, it may mean that's inclined towards. It's not only, I'm not saying it's not physical turning towards the Kaaba, but in your heart, inclined towards a focal point, which all mu'mineen are inclined towards that. In a united way, attention towards one point, which is, you can say, Kaaba or Allah. That sense of belonging, that sense of heartfelt and heartful attachment, affection, inclination, that brings about that closeness, that attachment. Now the next question is, how is it possible to be inclined in mind and in heart towards something, to establish that bond and link of wilaya? In my understanding, the best way is a concept which is also one of the meanings of walaya. That's the concept of love. The best way to be inclined in heart, to be attentively inclined to something in heart and mind, in whole existence, is by loving that one, is by loving something. If you really love something, you would be inclined towards it. And love is one of the meanings of walaya. And love is one of the meanings of walaya. If you love someone, you feel attachment towards it. There's a brilliant hadith from Imam Sadiq in which Imam Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam says, ولايتي لعلي بن أبي طالب أحب إلي من ولادتي من. Very strong statement. ولايتي لعلي بن أبي طالب, my wilaya for Ali ibn Abi Talib is more beloved, is more lovely in my eyes than me being from the descendants, from the grandchildren of him. His wilaya for me, being attached to his community, having spiritual link and connection to him and his camp and his way and his goal, is better for me than being one of his great grandchildren of him. My wilaya for him, that spiritual link, that connection, is better for me than being my wilada, being one of the children of him, or the progeny of Ali ibn Abi Talib. It has a very strong hint that the relationship and communication which is based on wilaya is not necessarily based on lineage, is not necessarily based on nasab, not necessarily based on the progenies, father, mother, grandfathers. No, it's between all people. My final point. It seems from this point of view, when we say walaya is, first of all, mutual. Secondly, walaya, according to the Quran, is, after being mutual and dimensional and multifaceted, is attachment, is a sense of belonging, is love. That sense of belonging comes through love. Then we can easily say that wilaya is a paradigm, is a theory that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala proposed to be replaced by one of the ancient and old paradigms and models of communication between Arabs, ignorant Arabs, pre-Islamic Arabs. What was the base model for communication between pre-Islamic Arabs? That was based on tribes, tribal communication. Tribal communication. Being proud of, for example, belonging to that tribe or other tribe. Qaba'il, qabila. Being proud of this. In my understanding, I haven't seen this one in any other source. In my understanding, wilaya in the Quran is a theory of communication, is a paradigm, a framework, a model for religious and particularly for Islamic communication between mu'mineen who have got link to Allah first, to Ahlul Bayt second, and to one another third. This is a model. It's a link. It's a bond. It's a connectivity. It's an interconnectedness. That's why Allah introduces Himself sometimes as wali for mu'mineen, sometimes introduces mu'mineen as awliya of Himself, sometimes He introduces the Prophet as wali for mu'mineen, sometimes introduces mu'mineen as awliya of Ahlul Bayt, and sometimes introduces mu'mineen as awliya of one another. So the core idea is a kind of spiritual connection and connectivity, spiritual link, spiritual communication, which is based on love. You may ask me a question: where's the place of Ahlul Bayt? Is it only loving? Am I talking only in the sense that Brothers of Ahlul Sunnah are talking? No. Love brings about ita'ah. If you love someone truly, you would follow. Al-mar'u ma'a man ahab. The heart of man, human being, is with the beloved. If you love someone, you would follow. It's impossible to love someone, to have complete devotion and love, affection, and compassion to someone and not to follow it. It's impossible. Not by tongue. Now, if in your heart, the reason that why some of our children are following these celebrities, why? They automatically imitate, follow, in accent and language, in gestures and dressing and everything. They love them. It's not that deep love. If you love someone deeply, you would follow. You would follow. So, walaya, when it comes to walayatul imama and walayatul za'ama and walayat haqqut tasarruf or walayatul takwini, which is related to the walayat of Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salatu wasalam, in my understanding, it is not wrong to say, again, that kind of walaya is based on mahabba, love. But that love is in a way that produces ita'ah. Produces ita'ah. Followership. Obedience. But that obedience is based on ma'rifah. It's based on knowledge. You have to know someone to obey. You have to know someone to love. And then when you love, automatically you would follow. I'm sorry if I'm talking too much theoretical, modeling and theorizing but it's good to have this kind of approach to the concept of wilaya in the Quran. So wilaya is a paradigm, is a framework, is a style, is a forum for Islamic communication. In the terminology of one of our teachers, wilaya in this sense can be used as collectivity, as community-based relations, not individualism. One of the things that's the Western thinking and style of thought and secular thought has produced is individualism. Yeah, inshallah, or most of you, I know that you are educated people. You can refer to and study about the idea of individualism, which is one of the components of modernism and modern era and postmodern conditions. Does not go hand in hand with wilaya-based communication, wilaya-based community, with the camp of mu'mineen who are linked and connected to one another based on the spiritual connection of wilaya. Based on this link of wilaya. So, from the side of mu'mineen, wilaya, when they have great love, they follow. They know and they follow the Mawla. From the other side, from the side of Allah, when Allah is connected to His Mawla or to His servant, to His awliya, because Mawla can be used, as I told you, in Ism al-Fa'il and Ism al-Maf'ul, to His friends, to those who have accepted that link of wilaya, that communication of wilaya, to those specific people. When Allah is connected, Allah would do what? Would do nusra, would help them. So from the side of mu'mineen, walaya produces mahabba, love. From the side of Allah, walaya produces nusra. That's why in most of the ayat of the Quran, when Allah brings the word wali, after wali you have the word nasir. Ma lakum min waliyin wala nasir.
مَا لَكُم مِّن وَلِيٍّ وَلَا نَصِيرٍ. In most of the ayat, when you have the word wali, you have next to wali, you have nasir. So it means that one of the functions of wali, Allah being wali, is to help. Allahu waliyul ladheen amanu yukhrijuhum min al-dhulumat ila an-nur. Allah is the helper, friend, owner of, has got the authority. What does He do? يُخْرِجُهُمْ مِنَ الظُّلُمَاتِ إِلَى النُّورِ. He brings or take them out from dhulumat to light, from darkness to light. Now the crucial question is, what is the scope of? Please remind me if I run out of my time. The crucial question is, what is the scope, the circle, the extent, the domain of walaya? Now the walaya is kind of community, is like a camp. What is the scope of it? How many people, what kind of people could be included in this camp? This is a very challenging question. Or in other words, can we say that non-Shias could be included in the community of walaya? In the camp of walaya? Or, let me rephrase my question. Can we have a walaya-based link and communication to non-Shias? What about non-Muslims? Ahlul Kitab. Can we have walaya-based link to Ahlul Kitab according to the Quran? What about non-Ahlul Kitab? Normal people, atheists, Buddhists. Can we have walaya-based? That's a very crucial and challenging question. Just briefly, I would try to give my answer. Inshallah, leave it to you to contemplate about the answer, inshallah. And I would benefit from your ideas as well if you got any to share. In my understanding, the answer lies in that concept that what is the base of walaya? We have to find the base, the pillar of the community, which is the community of walaya. If we can define that pillar, we can define what type of people can sit around this pillar. What type of people? My idea is, maybe I am wrong, my idea is, the base or the main feature of walaya-based community is iman. In its general sense, faith. This is my understanding from the Quran. Why? If you look at the Quran, in more than 90%, when I'm saying 90%, because I have done research about this, in more than 90% of the verses of the Quran which talk about walaya, how many verses of the Quran talk about walaya? Guess. 10, 12, 15. How many verses? How many times the walaya has been used? 231. 231 usage of walaya we do have in the Quran. Strange, yes? 231 times the word walaya, not the word walaya, the derivatives, mushtaqat, different forms. Sometimes walaya, sometimes awliya, wali, mawla, mawali, fawalli, tawalla, yatawalla. All of these are different forms of walaya, the same root of the verb. 231 times in the Quran. In more than 90% of this 231 cases of usage of the word walaya in the Quran, in more than 90%, when Allah is talking about the walaya, it is walayat of Allah versus walayat of shaitan. Walayat of iman and walayat of kufr. Allahu waliyul ladhina amanu yukhrijuhum min al-dhulumat ila an-nur walladhina kafaru awliyahum at-taghut. Let's look at this ayah of the Quran which I recited at the beginning of my speech. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu la tattakhidhu al-kafirina awliya min duni al-mu'minin. So wilayatul kufr versus wilayatul iman. So it seems to me that walaya, the main feature of the community or the camp of walaya, or the people who are connected to one another through walaya, not connected to one another, connected to one another and to their masters, Ahlul Bayt in this case, and to Allah. This is the community of walaya. The main feature to my mind, brothers and sisters, is Iman. Is Iman. So as long as the person is the believer of Allah, I'm not saying should, I'm saying could be considered in the domain of walaya. And you can have the relationship which is based on walaya with him. But there's a big but. In my understanding, there is a hierarchy. It's not the case that you have, so in this case, maybe it's right to say that we can have walaya-based communication with non-Shias and with non-Muslims with Ahlul Kitab because they have faith in Allah. But there's a big but. The big but is, I hope inshallah my speech would not be understood wrongly, the big but is that there is a hierarchy. It is a hierarchical structure. The walaya-based communication with Shias would be different with the walaya-based communication with non-Shias. The walaya-based of Muslims would be different with the walaya-based of non-Muslims. Now let me ask myself a question. Shaykh, you are saying that we can have a walaya-based communication with Ahlul Kitab. But the Quran says, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu. I'm not sure about Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu. La tattakhidhu al-yahuda wal-nasara awliya. What about this one? لا تتخذوا اليهود والنصارى أولياء. Or for example, this one. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتخذوا الكافرين أولياء. My answer is, first of all, the Quran is saying لا تتخذوا الكافرين أولياء من دون المؤمنين. This is the point. What does min dun al-mu'minin mean? Again, in my understanding, min dun al-mu'minin means that the priority should not be given to kuffar. It shouldn't be the case that you demote mu'minin and promote kuffar. If your communication with kuffar, with non-Muslims, leads to the degradation and demotion of mu'mineen, that's mamnu'. That's forbidden. That's the meaning of min dunil mu'mineen. Means the priority in communication shouldn't be given to them. That's one answer. The second answer is that some, like Allama Tabatabai in his Tafsir al-Mizan explains very beautifully this question. That for example, when Allah says, لا تتخذوا اليهود والنصارى أولياء, what does that mean? He says it means that the love shouldn't be in the way to the extent. That's what I said, that there are some levels and hierarchies. The love for them, the love for non-Muslims, for anything apart from Islam, shouldn't be in a way that you confuse other mu'mineen. That, oh, what is true, what is wrong? What's haq, what's batil? The attachment shouldn't be in a way that all borders should be blurred, should be dissolved. No, the borders should be there. That borders, that classifications should be there. But with respect, there's nothing wrong in being good, in showing love even to non-Muslims, because the Quran says لا ينهاكم الله عن الذين لم يقاتلوكم في الدين ولم يخرجوكم عن دياركم أن تبروهم. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't stop you from being good to even non-believers if they don't expel you from your lands, if they don't fight you in your religion. Nothing wrong in being good with them. So awliya, when we take it general meaning of wali, which is friendship or help, when Allah says لا تتخذوا اليهود لا تتخذوا الكافرين أولياء, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't have any friends from kafirin. I'm sure most of you have friends from non-believers. It's not. It doesn't seem to be right to say that having a friend who is non-Muslim is forbidden, is haram. No. But if taking some non-Muslim as friend would affect your iman, would affect the community of mu'mineen, would lead to the demotion and degradation of mu'mineen, that's forbidden. من دون المؤمنين. That's the criteria. من دون المؤمنين. That's one point. Another point that Allah Tabatabay says in Tafsir al-Mizan, He says that if you have that love strongly with non-Muslims, which leads you to be like them exactly, to be following them, that is forbidden. When Allah says لا تتخذوا اليهود والنصارى لا تتخذوا الكافرين أولياء, means that level of devotion, dedication, attachment, closeness shouldn't be leading to being one of them, being exactly like them. I hope inshallah I could open another window of about the concept of wilaya from the Quranic perspective, about the concept of wilaya to all dear brothers and sisters. I hope and I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would bless all of us increasingly and day by day with the closeness and wilaya of Ahlul Bayt and himself and wilaya of mu'mineen. I hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would give tawfiq to all of us to appreciate this friendship, this togetherness, this walaya of one another, this walaya of himself and this walaya of Ahlul Bayt. I hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would give tawfiq to all of us to be role models as a global Muslim in the world for the whole universe, inshallah, with the barakah of salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.
We have a few minutes for questions, if there are any questions from either side. Start with sister side. Or from the brother side. No questions?
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Thank you for a very interesting talk. You mentioned towards the end that we live in a society in which individualism is the general way of life, and unfortunately that is very true, particularly in Western cultures where we have more than the rest of the world and we're much more fortunate, yet we are increasingly selfish, increasingly self-centered, increasingly egotistical. You just need to travel on the tube to see how self-absorbed people are. So, and the sad thing is, when we see someone, a Muslim brother or sister doing well, we don't say, okay, that's good. How can we help you? How can we better ourselves? We say, how can we bring that person down? So how can we apply this philosophy that you've just alluded to maybe overcome this problem?
Thank you very much for the question. It's a very good question. Let's get help from one of the ayah of the Quran. Allah says in the Quran that كنتم خير أمة أخرجت للناس تأمرون بالمعروف وتنهون عن المنكر. So I think the first step, theoretically, not practically, theoretically, is to understand that being a beneficial, a helpful, an instrumental member of a global society is correct from our understanding of the Quran, based on one understanding at least from the Quran. Because some people, they may not feel that it is a recommended instruction and teaching of Islam to be instrumental, helpful, fruitful, good to the whole world. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Kuntum khayra ummatin, you are the best of nation, Is it a kind of nationalism? Discrimination? You are the best of nations? No. Ayatollah Jawadi Amri in his tafsir explains this ayah in a very brilliant way. He says khair here means the most beneficial, the most helpful, the most instrumental. Why? The reason he says kuntum khayra ummatin ukhrajat, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put you forward, linnas, for people. Li means in Arabic sometimes we say tufidul fa'ida, means for the benefit, for the service, for the betterment, for the well-being of people. Not ala nas, not over. Not Allah has not chosen, has not put you over others. No. Kuntum khayra ummatin, you are the best, you are the most instrumental to people. So, what we can understand is that being instrumental to not mu'minin, but also to an-nas. When we say about an-nas in the Quran, it means all people, irrespective of religion, ethnicity, language, color, anything. Kuntum khayra ummatin. If you want to be the best of nations, you have to be the most beneficial of nations. You have to be the most benevolent, the most instrumental, helpful, to be at the service of people, irrespective of any dimension. People, nas. So that's one point. To understand that Quranically and Islamically, it is right to think that it is recommended for a Muslim to be a role model for all human beings, to be beneficial for all human beings. Let me ask you a question. Ignore this question. It might be challenging. So let me put it in this way. That even being beneficial to a country which is not Islamic country, based on this type of understanding of this ayah of the Quran, with the interpretation that I gave from Ayatollah Jawadi Amri in his tafsir Tasneem, being beneficial, being at the service, would be something very good. In this case, a best young, Muslim young, is the young which helps the global society. Of course, as I told you, there is a priority. Like zakat, in zakat we say that first find some poor people from your relative, then your neighborhood, then your village, then your wider community. It's like this. When you want to be good to someone, when you want to help someone, of course, relatives, they got priority. Shias, they got priority. But that doesn't negate being good. That doesn't contradict being good to non-Shias, to non-Muslims, to all people of the world. That's a theoretical step that a Muslim, a good Muslim, is a Muslim, if you're not offended, let me say that, who is not only relying on benefit, but a good Muslim is a Muslim who is trying to serve Shias, Muslims, and the whole world. If we can accept this in our mind, then we can take some practical steps toward it. But practically, everyone in his or in her own capacity. One by being professional in Islamic studies, one by being professional in medical sciences, one by being professional in natural sciences, one by being professional in something else. So being professional and serving at the highest levels to all human beings. This is my thing that I can take from the Quran. Yeah? Any questions, sister? You got microphone. No question?
Any final question? Okay.
It's been a very inspiring talk, and now we need to learn how to develop this love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Ahlul Bayt.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Thank you very much. I think we'll end there. Salawat.